evidence confirms that the foothills of Ethiopia were not merely inhabited, they were catalysts, as Harold G. Marcus notes in a book called A History of Ethiopia. The Sudan-Ethiopian borderlands were the cradle of the Afro-Asiatic language family. Proto-Cushitic and Proto-Semitic begin their evolution here, supported by the linguistic continuity in Tigray and Amharic. The Proto-Semitic branch, as Harold G. Marcus confirms, belong to the northern groups, those of the Tigray. Proto-Cushitic, best heard in the southern highlands, carried by the Amharic. Before the branches were named, Afro-Asiatic languages spread both into the Nile Valley and eastward into the Middle East. Harold G. Marcus cites much of the linguistic development came after the 8th millennium BC, when domestication and herding of cattle, goats, sheep, and donkeys, and the intensive collection of wild grains grew the population. As early as the 3rd millennium BC, cultivation yielded 36 crops, for which Ethiopia was either the primary or the secondary point of dispersion. Most important were teff, Eragosis teff, a small kernel grass, produced flour that was baked into large, round, flat breads, a staple still today by Ethiopians, etc. Spreading to other lands, Ethiopians used the plow, a feature of the highlands as old there as agricultural itself. According to Marcus, in the 2nd millennium BC, Semitic-speaking northerners, likely ancestral Tigrayans, came to dominate the Ethiopian plateau. Their encounter with Sebaean traders, whose language bore striking similarity to their own, gave shape to a pre-Axumite civilization modeled after South Arabian states. Practices such as temple-based storage of grain, incense, and other goods, land ownership system involving laborers and farmers, and trade regulations managed through religious institutions. Axum was Afro-Asiatic, phenotypically African, and ritually sovereign, a true imperial force. This led to the rise of the Kingdom of Da'amet, a uniquely Ethiopian Highland location-based polity with its capital at Yeha, which dominated the highlands of western Tigray. From its capital, Da'amet exchanged ivory, tortoiseshell, rhinoceros horn, gold, silver, and slaves for cloth, tools, metals, and jewelry. The Sebaens and Tigrayans groups were not a full merger, but likely a strategic synthesis. Here's what the evidence suggests. Semitic affinity. The Semitic-speaking northerners, Proto-Tigrayans, already had linguistic structures similar to Sebaean traders. This similarity made communication and cultural exchange fluid, allowing for rapid adoption of Sebaean inscriptions, religious motifs, and trade practices. In essence, the pre-Axumites adopted Sebaean tools, scripts, and trade models to enhance their own sovereignty. Linguistic convergence. Similar language structures allowed for mutual intelligibility, but Geez evolved independently. Da'amet became a South Arabian-like state, but it was rooted in Ethiopian Highland identity. Warfare in the highland region of Axum, comprising Akili, Guze, and Agame, led to the subjugation of Agu-speaking farmers. Axum expanded from the coast inland into Tigray and grew both within and beyond Ethiopia Highlands, aided by trade with Ptolemaic Egypt and later the Roman world economy. Through its port at Adulis, Ethiopia welcomed foreign ships that anchored and brought sustained commercial activity. In exchange for ivory, merchants offered a wide array of goods, various types of cloth, glassware, tools, gold and silver jewelry, copper, and Indian iron and steel, materials used to manufacture high-quality weapons. Adulis rivaled Egypt in grandeur, with stone-built houses, temples, a dam, and irrigated agriculture. Located 5 days from Axum, it anchored the empire's coastal reach. In the 5th century AD, Ethiopian armies advanced towards Snakeskin in the north to control trade and manage the Beja's land disputes, pushed into the Tigray to secure agricultural zones, crossed the Afar Desert to dominate the incense routes, and sailed across the Red Sea to Hejaz, extracting tribute and commanding seaborne commerce. The earliest inscriptional fragments are in Sebaean, yet they exhibit features that can be derived only from Geez, a local Semitic language. Marcus, the author, further explains that the dominance of indigenous culture became more pronounced after the 4th century BC. He cites monuments found at Yiha, Huti, Malazzo, and other sites as evidence of this cultural shift. Ethiopians worship the traditional snake god and other deities in a religious landscape that, like ancient Egypt's, persisted into the Christian era, preserving indigenous beliefs even as new faith emerged. The ruins of the ancient Aksumite civilization covered a wide area in the Tigray Plateau. The most impressive monuments are the monolithic obelisks, royal tombs, and the palace ruins dating to the 6th and 7th centuries AD. The presence of both Ethiopian and Tigrayan cultures today affirms that no war can